In this video, I'm going to offer my thoughts after owning this watch for around about a month. So this is the 2020 Rolex Datejust 36mm, reference 126234. And I think it's a good time to review the watch after having it for a month and wearing it most days, at least for a few hours. You may have seen my other video where I purchased this from Watchfinder. I've had a few people, particularly with similar size wrists, asking for a follow-up with my thoughts. So let's get straight into it. So this is still the current model by Rolex. It's the one with the 3235 movement. So if you were to buy a silver dial 36mm Datejust with the fluted bezel and the Jubilee strap, that would be the 126234. So you would receive a watch which looks identical to this. The difference between the 126234 and the version that came before it in respect to the Jubilee is that you get the clasp that's visible as a clasp on the rear side of the bracelet, whereas before, on the previous iteration of Jubilee, you got a Jubilee bracelet which kind of looked more like a bracelet end to end. You didn't see a clasp at all. The crown here was integrated into the bracelet. A lot of people liked that. I liked it as well. So this was one of my reservations buying this newer style Jubilee bracelet, was that maybe it would lose some of that elegance from having an all-in-one hidden clasp. But honestly, as I've come to use it, it really doesn't bother me at all. It still works really well as a, let's say, elegant watch which can also be used in a casual setting. And sticking with the bracelet, one of the primary benefits that this gives you, having the clasp, is that you get the addition of the Easy Link despite it being a Jubilee. So you can see at the moment I've got the Easy Link, let's say, engaged. So at the moment I'm inside, it's a regular temperature. You can see I wear my watch quite high on the wrist. So there's my wrist bone. I wear it higher than the wrist bone and I wear it quite tight. So at the moment I'm indoors, it's about 20 degrees indoors, and this sort of fits me perfectly most of the time. Now if I go outside and it's sunny, I'm doing some gardening work, or for example last night I went to watch my daughter swimming and it was very, very warm inside of the arena where they do the swimming, then that's where the beauty of the Easy Link comes in, where you can on this end of the clasp here, you can see you can just pop this extra half link out. So now that's free. So straight away you've added 5mm to the bracelet. If I put that back on there now, you can see it's slightly more loose. I can just get a finger in there under the clasp. And if it was particularly hot and your wrist is expanded slightly, again you still have that perfect fit. So I find that super useful. And I would swap the Easy Link for the aesthetics of the old hidden clasp bracelet any day of the week. So I haven't babied this watch, so you can see that the like any sort of clasp, this will pick up slight scratches, especially with this being polished here. You're gonna, especially if you work at a desk like I do, you sort of sit with the watch like that. This will pick up some scraps and scrapes. One of the things which I didn't expect, which I really like about the Jubilee, is you can see a brand new fluted bezel is very, very defined here. So each sort of left-right indentation on the flute really, really captures the light. So if you're after, like I was, a more slightly dressier, more elegant, sort of timeless watch, this is quite aesthetically pleasing to me, and it really complements the Jubilee. So I'm kind of the opinion you kind of go for Jubilee plus fluted, or You go for the oyster bracelet plus the flat bezel. I think mixing and matching those kind of, I'm sort of the kind of person that like kind of pure winter or pure summer. I'm not a big fan of the fall and the spring, but hey, your mileage may vary. So let's stick with the aesthetics of the watch. Like I say, this was something that I was after in terms of the more dressier look. You might have seen in a previous video I came from a Rolex Explorer to this watch, but I find this works equally well in casual shorts with a t-shirt, or you can obviously wear it to work. There's pretty much no environment where this watch doesn't work. I mean, people have obviously worn Datejusts with pretty much everything, including gold Datejusts with tracksuits and things, and that's certainly one of the appeals of the watch to me. Okay, so in terms of the size, again, I've got a 16 centimeter wrist. This is a 36 centimeter watch, and you can see that this is the right size for me. So the lug to lug here is not overlapping my wrist on either side, whereas with the 40mm, I'm pushing the limits of my wrist. We just put that easy link back in. I'll show you how that works. So you pop that in, clip it down. Pretty standard affair on the inside. There's a completely flat rear to the oyster case, and this is really comfortable on your wrist, despite me wearing it fairly tight. A few more things we can talk about. So the screws here. Let's see if we can get a bit closer there. So the screws, if you want to adjust the bracelet at home, I personally like having the ability to adjust my own bracelets at home. Then the screws on the modern Jubilee bracelet are still smaller than the screws on the oyster bracelet. So you need a specific size screwdriver if you want to adjust these screws. And let me grab that and show that to you. I'll leave a link to this on Amazon, this product on Amazon. So this is a Vera screwdriver, which is 1.2 mil on the head, and this fits the Jubilee bracelet perfectly in terms of the screws, which means you're not going to chew the screw heads up. So you see here that sits deep in the screw there. And despite it not being what's called a hollow head screwdriver, which means it does have a pointed end, it still works perfectly fine. And the screws on the Jubilee are actually 1.3 mil, but you struggle to find a 1.3 mil screwdriver in the UK, in my experience. Okay, what other thoughts do I have after a month? Well, the silver colour was something I wanted. I've owned a blue Datejust with a oyster bracelet in the past, and I find the silver much more universal in terms of what you can wear it with. I actually find the appeal of the colour, sort of the elegant sort of, it doesn't contrast too much. I was a little bit worried at first that it might blend in completely, but on the contrary, it's got a really nice sunburst effect in the sun, and the markers, etc., are very well defined, and this has got a great lume on it. So this, even though it's a sort of more dressier watch, if you want to wear the watch in a dark room or wear it to bed, the lume on the hands and the markers is great, and that's what you'd expect, of course, with a Rolex that's purchased in the modern era. Anything else? Well, in terms of timekeeping, I'd say compared to, say, something like my Apple Watch or a Casio, then it's a couple of seconds a day, one way or the other, but nothing else to worry about. In fact, it might be an interesting thing to show you the size difference here in terms of a couple of common watches you might be familiar with. So this is the classic Casio F91, which is something else I wear. So you can see it's kind of a similar sort of ballpark. Bit thicker, but nothing crazy. And then the other watch that I wear, mainly for running, is the Apple Watch. And so I wear the 40mm Apple Watch. That gives you a feel for, I mean, the Apple Watch actually makes the Rolex look quite small in that picture, but they both work pretty well on my wrist. The last thing I'll mention, I mean, this review is more of a aesthetics, how it works as a daily wearer, more than the pure sort of technical aspects of the watch. But one thing I will mention is a real benefit of having a modern day Rolex is the power reserve. So this comes with a 70-hour power reserve, which is obviously more than 2 days, and that means that you can put it down on a Friday night, and on a Monday morning, it's still going to be good to go as long as you sort of moved around pretty well in the week before. The last thing I'll mention is one of the things that I've loved about the fluted bezel, the aesthetics of it is if you catch the sun right, not only does the dial light up because of the sunburst nature of it, but the sun will reflect off these in the room and give you a really nice sort of pattern of light on the wall. Maybe I'll try and get that aesthetic in a different video. So I hope you found this useful in terms of how this watch wears, feels, and the reports of someone that is continuing to enjoy it after wearing it most days for about a month. Thanks a lot. I'll speak to you soon.